your Subaru Rally of Otago. This is Highlanders country, not just a breeding ground of great rugby players, but the rugged rally roads make it a perfect place to start the Parker NZ New Zealand Rally Championship. Good afternoon, team. I'm Clint Brown. Glad you could join us on 3 Sport for highlights from the Rally of Otago, the opening round of what promises to be a very exciting 6-round championship over the next 5 months. Plenty of changes this year too. There's 3 in the North Island, 3 in the South Island, and 2 new rallies. The Rally of Nelson should be a classic in the South, the top of the South, and the championship winds up with the new tarmac rally in September in Auckland. And without the big guns, Bruce Herbert and Jeff Argyle have both retired from the championship. One thing is for sure, the search for a new national rally champion starts right here, right now in Otago. And at the rally start on Saturday morning, it's a nervous wait for the drivers before heading to stage 1.
Andrew, the first round of the championship back again. You were fairly quick last year. What's the approach this year?
We're just going to go out there and do the best we can. We've got, a big year ahead of us. So, there's a long way to go. We'll just go out there and just see how it pans out. I'm not going to go and do anything silly and throw it off in the first few stages, that's for sure.
Todd Borden brings the same Mitsubishi Evo Group A class car that took him to victory in last year's Otago rally.
Really take it easy in the start, just watch what everyone else does around us like we did last year and get into a good rhythm.
Following the retirement of last year's champ Bruce Herbert, Richard Mason starts number 1 on the road as he finished 2nd in 2003.
Obviously the Group A cars have got a lot more horsepower, they can use that to their advantage, like they can haul ass on the straights and slow down for the corners if they want, whereas Group N, to get a good time you have to maintain your pace at all times. So yeah, totally different driving approach altogether.
And as far as the Rally New Zealand earlier, you've had a little bit of bad luck there. You got rid of all the gremlins, as it were.
Yeah, everything in the car's been replaced. You've got a new engine, new gearbox, new drive shafts, the whole works. It's just don't want to take any risks here, and so replaced everything. And the car should be a dream. It's just a matter of making sure I am too.
It's a long way, and it's a championship at the end of the day. That's what we're looking at. So. We don't want to, obviously do anything stupid today, but in saying that, we don't want to be too far behind them either, that's for sure.
Stage 1 at Whare Flat is familiar territory, having been used in most of the Otago rallies in the past. A large crowd braved early morning fog and cold to see what they could at the spectator point near the top of the road. Being first on the road, Richard Mason had to cope with sweeping the gravel from the racing line. Now that slows the car down, but his main disadvantage will be the production class engine, because this stage has 6 kilometres of uphill slog to the spectator point, and the Group A rally cars definitely have the power advantage. But listening and believing in the pace notes being read by co-driver Hamish Fenimore should allow Mason to drive flat out. But his intercom's broken, he still posts the 5th fastest time of 7:45. Neil Allport was making a welcome return to the champs after 12 years, and he equalled Mason's time. Todd Borden had hoped that exclusive use of a new Dunlop tyre would give him an edge this weekend. The tyre had shown a 1 second per kilometre advantage in testing, but Borden was only 4th fastest at 7:40.
7 right, 60, 4 right minus.
But at the end of the stage, the reason becomes clear. He'd actually driven over half the stage with a left rear puncture. So with the 2 production cars of Chris West and Mark Tapper, and the Group A rally car of Andrew Hawkswood to fight out the top 3. Tapper joined the Mitsubishi dominance, scorching his production Evo 7 through the stage in 7:36. This rally, with its long straights and smooth flowing roads, would tend to suit the Mitsubishis. So if Chris West was going to challenge for the production title, he needed a strong showing at his Impreza WRX here. Let's see how the times compare across the finish, and West stops the clock at 7:37, just 1 second down on Tapper. So on the Parker NZ scoreboard, Hawkswood has a 3-second lead, Tapper and West 3 seconds back, Borden in 4th, Mason and Allport tied for 5th. And Lewis Scott on his comeback after a year off in 7th, with Dunedin driver Mike Turfus coming in 8th.
That's from Harwood.
Not so lucky, Glenn Smith had another transmission problem, something which has dogged his efforts on this rally in the past. Its services crew were desperate to trace the problem before he lost too much time.
Glenn, through the first stage, looks like the bad luck continues.
Yeah, I don't know, something went off the start line mechanically, and I just started slipping, so I just drove it out, and the boys trying to find out what it is now.
You got any idea what it is?
I think it could be the centre diff or something like that, so we'll try and patch it up. Maybe I'll go and do those next two, and then we've got a longer service for the boys that can change it, so we'll just see how we get on.
Coming up on Rally Otago, Dave Strong throws out the shopping bags and dumps in an 800 HP VTEC engine to create the world's fastest shopping trolley and slips sliding away. Borden on the edge. Welcome back to the Southern Motor Court Subaru Rally of Otago, round one of the Parker NZ New Zealand Rally Championship. And after the short morning sprint at Whare Flat, the rally route got serious with two stages across the Otago Coast State Forest. Now, Richard Mason should have been first on the road, but under new regulations, all cars needed to have their tyres marked as they left service parks. But Mason missed the marking and had to return to service. So by the stage start, he was 5 minutes late and copped a 50-second penalty. So that put Todd Borden first on the road, on the stage, with most of the gravel for the day. So he became the road sweeper.
Into a 4 left, minus opens, 120. Next 120.
The road here is very fast through the clear-felled forest, although as it climbs, the fog becomes a problem again. But even half a click up the road, the conditions are rough, but Borden still sets a 16:27.5. But then he charges into the next stage, Tidy Beach, despite brake problems.
Yes.
Just to add to their problems, the car is running very low on fuel as they approach the finish. But Todd wins the stage in a 10:02 and stays third in the rally for now. Andrew Hawkswood has teamed up with co-driver Jeff Hill for the first time this year. Despite them having spent little time in the car together, Hawkswood is putting in a steady, mature drive to stay in the lead. The former wild man of rallying has learned to temper his style and it pays off. He's fastest here on stage 2. And is just 5 seconds slower than Borden on 3. So retains the overall lead by 11.5 seconds over Borden and 8.3 seconds over Mark Tapper. Now, the young Auckland driver has a new car and a new attitude for 2004, admitting that he does better by not worrying about the times of other competitors, and it seems to be working. Second on stage 2 and third here on stage 3. He is second overall, but more importantly, dominating the production class ahead of his main rival, Chris West. The reigning production car champion has got a new car and a new team this year, and a lot riding on his performance here. And he's still getting used to the left-hand drive. Now, the Subaru STI is a nimble handling car and the newest spec of any car in the production field. But these long stages are better suited to the midsies. On stage 2, West is beaten by 22 seconds.
Left on 60.
On stage 3, he loses another 7 seconds and heads to the service park in 4th place, 38 seconds behind Hawkswood and 30 seconds down on Tapper. Now, Lewis Scott took a break from rallying last year and he missed it so much he's back this year with a few improvements to the car and a revived need for speed. But as Group A Evo 5 is lacking the latest active diffs found in the Evo 7 and 8 Mitsubishis, but it's still a reliable, proven car. A 6th place here on stage 2 and the 9th fastest on stage 3 are enough to put him 5th overall. Also running a Super Rally car is the return of Neil Allport, but he lost 40 seconds with a puncture on stage 2 and then got stuck off the road on stage 3. Another one of the drivers in the Group A class is Mike Turpis, the Dunedin driver. He spends most of his time selling cars during the week, so loves giving them a blat during the weekend.
35 right, 4 left plus tightens a little, 17.
Now Mason slotted in behind Scott and adopted a wait-and-see attitude to his position. While 50 seconds could be clawed back over 2 days, there was little point in taking risks, as Tapper was obviously faster on these roads. So better to keep in touch and salvage as many points possible from this, the first of 6 rounds of the championship. Welshman Tom Pritchard adopted Dunedin as home 5 years ago. He bought Mark Tapper's car from 2003 and so far has won the 2003 Waikato Rally and finished 3rd Kiwi, or maybe that should have been Kiwi Boyo, on Propecia Rally New Zealand this year. Not a bad way to start your New Zealand Rally career. And on these stages, he was showing the same form. 6th on stage 2, here on stage 3, 5th fastest to be lying 7th overall. Now the Otago Rally is notorious for its speed, so that means young drivers like the championship rookie Sam Murray have to rely on the experience of their veteran co-driver Stu Jenkinson to call the pace notes, and they'd be happy in 11th. Dean Sumner was Rookie of the Year last year, and this year he's aiming for the Junior Rally title. He'd finished 12th fastest after stage 3.
And long 4 left minus.
So at the halfway point of day 1, Andrew Hawkswood has a narrow lead over Mark Tapper, but Tyke Borden is still within striking distance. In the Kiwi 2 class, Dave Strong debuted the unusual Honda Jazz. On stage 1, Strong had been beaten by rookie Shane Watkin in the ex-Dave Black Nissan Pulsar, but the positions were reversed on stage 2. And last year's rookie in this class, Kane Barry, also had his older Pulsar ahead of Watkin by the end of stage 3. And after the break, Glenn Smith back on the pace after a major service on the transmission. And day 1 ends with the horsepower show of a different kind. The rally headed south through the small township of Lawrence for the 2 fast-flowing country road stages.
180. 6 right, 80. 6 left opens, 150.
These roads were perfect for the powerful Group A Mitsubishis of Borden and Hawkswood to really stretch out a lead. But Borden, still running first in the road, misjudges this slippery corner. Yes, the Marley car not loving the wet in this instance. The damage appears superficial, but the intercooler pipe was crushed and the car wasn't developing full boost, which cost him as the stage wound uphill to the end. Hawkswood blasted through the corkscrew road stage, beating his rivals by a whopping 10 seconds and extended his lead. Mark Tapper's amazingly strong run of the production Mitsubishi continued. The GVI team driver benefited from Borden's slip-up and scorched through the stage in 2nd fastest time and still held on to 2nd overall by just 4 seconds from Borden.
Left tightens and then opens, 100.
That left Subaru drivers Chris West and Richard Mason in their own Impreza battle for 4th place. West had the upper hand following Mason's 50-second penalty and was starting to find some form in the 2003 car.
Left.
3, 2, 1, go.
Without his 50-second penalty, Richard Mason would have had the edge on West. Ironically, Mason's Parker NZ team Subaru is in fact West's championship-winning car from the previous 2 seasons.
7 right and 6 right minus, 180. Gators, 5 left. What's this one? Right, Gators.
Speed in these production Subarus is all about maintaining momentum in the corners and driving a smooth flowing style out.
50, 4 right plus, and long 5 left tightens to 4 plus, and 4 right.
And while Corkscrew Road had gone up into the hills, the next stage, Breakneck Road, came back down.
7 right opens, 250. Small crest into a 4 right plus.
Borden's boost problem wasn't too bad, and with gravity giving him a helping hand, he posted his first stage win of the day and took second overall off Tapper.
6 left over Small Crest, 3 left opens in Junction. 3 left opens in Junction.
Hawkswood still had the lead though and wasn't prepared to relax. While Tapper had lost second place, he was still dominating the production class. And as you can see, coming up from Dean Sumner's ITM onboard, Evan O'Leary and the second team Total Lancer retired when his rear diff mounts broke. But the junior rally champion hopeful Sumner was having his own mini comeback, knocking on the door of the top 10.
6 right, minus 200.
In the Kiwi 2 class, the challenge from rookie driver Shane Watkins ended with a blown engine, leaving Dave Strong's Honda Jazz with a 1-minute lead over Nissan driver Kane Barry. That may seem a lot, but the VTEC-R engine in the Jazz has over 200 horsepower, while the Nissan only develops around 150 ponies. Now Jason West was starting to challenge Barry's stage times, and he'd moved up to third in the class. So after 5 stages, Hawkswood has a 17.5 second lead. Tapper still leading production class, but 8 seconds down on Borden, and Mason now dropped back to just over a minute behind West. And for service, time for Todd Borden to talk traction with Dunlop tyre guru Alistair Corbett, maybe feeling fortunate to get away with that half spin on stage 4.
Just that start, those last 2 stages there, I knew where they were at in Lawrence, which is totally different surface again. And I was at the start line, I said to Damon, this is going to be slippery. And it was really slippery, you know, and it's amazing how much the surface changes. And the tyres were great, and I was trying pretty hard through there and come to an intersection and knew, you know, we're in a bit of trouble there. And I've been wide there before, plenty of runoff, but just sort of spun around and just touched the fence post and pushed the intercooler a bit down a boost, so it was back like a Group N car. So we battled through there and lost a bit of time at Andrew, I think, yeah.
Well, I don't know if you're actually aware of this, but the last stage coming into here, you actually won the stage.
But I drove very committed and a lot of speed, like carrying a lot of speed. And the thing would have had less power than a Group N car, but it just goes out. Notes were great in that stage, and I enjoyed it, and just very clean lines, and that's what you need, just to have good clean lines. And you don't need a lot of power, you just need to carry your speed. And I was quite surprised, that's for sure.
And just a regular service check for Andrew Hawkswood, the team Total Evo having a trouble-free run.
Yeah, no, we're still on the lead at the moment. So, I mean, we've got two stages that we repeat of this morning's stages. So, I mean, they're going to be really slippery now. So it's going to be a battle of, you know, who can stay in the middle of the road and not get punctures and basically not slip off, I think.
The next 2 special stages repeated the morning stages, and it was here where Todd Borden decided to make his charge.
Long 4 left minus, and long 4 right, double tightens.
He blasted through stage 6 Big Bush and 16.14, followed that up in stage 7 with a 9.44. Perhaps the digger driver from North Harbour felt more at home in the muddy conditions. Was under pressure now as Borden eroded his lead, but he's also toned down his style this year, working harder to stay consistent and not lose a lead through reckless driving.
Andrew, it's been a good day.
Yeah, not too bad. We had a bit of a shocker in the one before this, but you know, we still didn't lose too much time. Lost 2 to Todd.
What happened?
Just slippery and slipped off the road a couple of times, so nothing major there.
Mark Tapper went into these stages in third, but decided to try and bridge the gap to Borden. But 2 spins on stage 7 saw him pull back and say, well, let's stay safe in third.
Mark, last 2 stages, good?
Yeah, not bad. Had a half spin in there and had to back up. Just a bit hot into an intersection, but other than that, it was all real good. The car's running good.
Cost you much?
Probably 5-10 seconds.
You happy with your day?
Very happy.
So what's the plan from here? Stay, consolidate, push hard, try and make a gap?
No, just consolidate now and then reevaluate tomorrow morning and probably just battle on at the same pace. I don't think that Richard and Chris don't seem to have the same pace, so been comfortable all day, so hopefully can stick with it and be the same tomorrow afternoon.
Unlike the Evos going absolutely flat out, the Subarus were struggling in the conditions. Chris West Richard Mason both lost ground as they battled on to 4th and 5th respectively.
Richard, one more super special to go. The last 2 stages, how they been?
Yeah, not too bad. The one before this was it's a little bit slippery on the grass, so we took it a little bit easy, but it was nice through here. Good.
You happy where you are?
Oh, pretty happy at the moment. This is sticking to the plan, so that's what it's all about.
The comeback drive on the first day was coming from Lewis Scott. He returned to National Championship rallying by finishing the day right up there in the top 6. And the Kiwi boy, Tom Pritchard, was again proving that he has plenty of potential to back up his win on the Waikato Rally last year on tarmac. But he was still wary of the Otago roads.
Yeah, it's just really the when you come over the crests, when you've got the slight lefts and rights over the crest, and then through the 7s and 8s, the ones that you can't see around really, just having the confidence to really push through them. But at the moment, I'm quite happy just buttoning off slightly. The times we're doing are quite respectable, so hey, there's no point to push any further. We need to get to the end of this rally.
At the end of stage 7, there was just 1 minute separating 8th to 13th position. Austin Jones had brake problems throughout the day, and they were pretty hot here as he took 8th. The veteran Malcolm Stewart was in 9th place, just 6 seconds back. Sam Murray, another championship rookie, had the Radio Sports Samara up into the top 10 for the first time, only 1 second behind. Emma Gilmore was also moving up the leaderboard after a slow start in the morning. And rounding out the top 12, Mike Turpis, the local man from Otago. Dean Sumner was enjoying a clear run through the stage, which had been shrouded in cloud in the morning run.
To 5 left minus.
The young Rotorua driver in the ITM Evo improved his time over those 2 stages compared to the morning run, was now up to the lucky 13th position. And surely one of the strangest ever cars rallied in New Zealand, Dave Strong had the Integra-powered Jazz on steroids, up to 20th, leading the Kiwi 2 class. Kane Barry was in 23rd place, a minute behind Strong, second in the class despite a broken gear selector. Well, Rally New Zealand may have used the mighty Monocar Super Special stage to turn it on for the fans, but in the deep south, the Otago Rally has its own classic stage for the spectators. We're talking about Forbury Park, and it's the perfect place to harness a bit of man-made horsepower and wrap up the action on day 1.
They've probably tightened up those chicanes a little bit tonight as well.
at the end of day one. It's Andrew Hawkswood in front by just over 8 seconds from Todd Borden, with Mark Tapper right up there in third, leading the battle of the production cars from Chris West, with Richard Mason rounding out the top 5 as they head into day 2. Welcome back to 3 Sport and highlights of the Parker NZ New Zealand Rally Championship. Well, like the low cloud that's been hanging over Otago all weekend, there was a real air of anticipation going into the start of day 2 of Rally Otago. Would it be mechanical failure or brain failure that eventually would decide the outcome of the rally? Todd Borden came to the start of the stage with the will to win. He had the most to gain with a big push in the morning and was ready to challenge Hawkswood's lead. Incredibly, the rally lead would change right here. Hawkswood was all set to defend his 8-second advantage, but on the start of the very first stage of the day, it all goes very wrong. Now that noise was a drive shaft snapping under the load at the start, leaving him to nurse the car through the next 2 stages and surrender his lead. So Borden finished stage 10 with a 35-second lead over Mark Tapper. Not that Tapper was aware of the drama that lay ahead as he sat on the start line. He was an impressive second on stage 9 and looked to continue his domination of the production class. But his rally upended near the end of stage 10, just past our cameras. The Evo 7 was left stranded less than 1 kilometre from the stage end.
I backed off and ran a little bit wide, clipped the bank, and then sucked the front end and ripped the front wheel off, basically. There's nothing we can do about it. It's just with bad luck. Really.
Under championship rules, cars retired on day 1 can restart on day 2, competing for the bonus points on offer. Neil Allport took advantage of that to win stage 9. But he and co-driver Rob Wright exited stage 10 on foot. Not a great sign. His Group A Mitsubishi Evo 6.5 was seriously damaged in a huge crash.
You all right, Neil? No? Yeah, no, I'm fine. Bit of hurt pride?
Seems like you got to do your apprenticeship again, doesn't it? No, I'm not looking forward to that, did
Just the white here, was it?
Yeah, like, it was okay. We're just getting in a bit, but we were like about half a metre up, and I really didn't think it was much of a problem, but obviously, you know, the further it got out, the looser it was, and then the camber got off. And it's always a nothing corner, you know. It doesn't look like much until it really starts going wrong.
So huge disappointment for Neil Allport and Rob Ryan out of the rally. So Chris West was suddenly up to second, but he also had a close shave on this, the Waipori Gorge stage. Only quick reactions from the Winger Subaru driver saved his rally, which could have ended up in the river below or left on the side of the road like Tapper and Allport. But in this case, the damage was only superficial panel damage to the right rear of the car. West finished the stage in second place, 4 seconds in front of the struggling Hawkswood. Richard Mason also made the most of the misfortune up front. Remember, he'd virtually given up on a podium finish following that 50-second penalty on day 1 for not marking his tyres. Now in fourth, he looked like leaving Otago with some decent points after all. Lower Hutt's Lewis Scott was now up to 5th, a good position from which to build a points base in the 6-round championship. But there was drama ahead for Tom Pritchard. He hit a bank on stage 9 and wiped out his door handle, and trying to keep it shut, he had nearly sent him off the road. But luckily he survived and was back over the bridge of troubled waters. Austin Jones was also on the move in the Woku Car Spares Subaru, and from here on in, there'd be a close battle, in fact, a blazing battle for 6th place between him, Pritchard, and the rally rookie, Sam Murray. Malcolm Stewart maintained 8th overall. Emma Gilmore charts through stage 10, 9th fastest with a time of 8:26. And after getting that shock, junior contender Dean Sumner leapfrogged 2 places to be in the top 10 for the first time in the rally. His ITM rally team had instructed him to ease into the pace on day 1, and that was now paying dividends as he felt more confident on day 2.
And 4 right plus.
So at the end of stage 10, Todd Borden was in front by 1:32 from Chris West, with Andrew Hawkeswood just 4 seconds behind him in 3rd place, followed by Richard Mason and Lewis Scott rounding out the top 5. But talk about a way to start day 2. Absolute drama right from the start.
You know, your heart just sinks. You just know that you've got, 2 stages to battle through with a car in 2-wheel drive, and to try and preserve it without damaging the car anymore, so you can get to the finish. Basically, it's really heartbreaking.
But the Waipori Gord stage had one more victim. Jason West, the local man, added to the damage from stage 8 by trying to bridge the gap with the leaders just a bit too hard. But luckily he survived the panel damage and is away again. We're standing on Lake Waiholder, and this is the service park where the rally crews would argue that the real action happens. They do the hard work, and then the drivers take the cars out there into the special stages and stuff them up, or pay them back for doing the hard work. But what you learn about rallying here is the fact that this is all about teamwork, not just a good driver or a co-driver. You've got to have a top team to be able to win the rally. And one of the teams that's really raised the bar this year to try and win the local championship is Winger Subaru, who backed Chris West. And with us we've got Peter Sprague, he's the crew chief manager. So Pete, tell us exactly what you've got on the truck here to keep Westy on the road, all right?
Yeah, no worries.
How many actually got on the crew?
Well, we've got a guy for each corner for the car, and we have a team manager who's Jim Scott, who's very well known in the rallying fraternity. We've got another guy doing fuel, keeps an eye on all the tyres and stuff.
Yeah, people don't realise that being an effective rally team is all about teamwork. So, and you look at the parts, I mean, look at this place, it's unbelievable. It's a mobile workshop. So what have you got that you need here?
Obviously, we keep all our tools. We sort of need to have everything on tap in case we need to replace anything. As you know, Westy does like banging things around the odd now and then, so we need to keep everything. So if there's a problem, we can replace it. We've tried to lay it all out as neatly as possible as we can. Like as far as over here, we've laid a corner for the left front, right front corner here, left rear here, right rear here, and like all the sort of heavier stuff we'll keep in a box down there.
So you sort of break the whole truck up into different parts of the car, so if you need something quickly, because they normally have, 20 minutes for a service, so you haven't got time to muck around.
No.
And how long do you get from the driver saying, this is wrong, I need to fix this and this and this, before you can work out what's actually wrong and what you've got?
Well, we've got a fleet link in the car which we can actually talk to him, and he can relay back when he gets out of the stage if he's got a problem or everything's fine, and he'll give us a bit of a job list before he turns up in control and turns up here with us.
Right, now come with me, because we've got the flash truck here with all the spare parts. You've seen the tyres, and Pete's telling us about all the big parts they've got here to make the Westies on the road. But, this is the Flash boys from Auckland. And guess what? Check this out. They even bring their own latte machine, just so that the Aucklanders are right at home. So with all the boys barred up on a big dose to the old jungle juice, they were back in the forest again for 3 stages in the Otago Coastal Hills. And with his car now restored to 4-wheel drive, Andrew Hawkeswood blasted through the stage to win it by a huge 22-second margin, claiming back 2nd spot.
It's along to left.
Todd Borden, though, still had a comfortable lead of over 1 minute, so didn't need to take any risks here. Barring a puncture or mechanical failure, the rally was his. Now, Chris West of the Winger Subaru was always going to be hard pushed to stay ahead of the Group A cars, so he was better off to consolidate his lead in the production class. But on board here, you can see just how hard he's working, and look how fast this production car is down the long forestry roads.
7 left over small crest, 450. Caution, rough from here, small crest, and 3 left tightens. And 2 right. 30. 7 left tightens, 30.
Mason was 6 seconds slower than West through the stage and was sort of at a no man's land situation. 4th place, but too far behind West to catch him, and over 51 seconds ahead of the next car, Lewis Scott. And Scott was another 1 minute 30 ahead of Tom Pritchard. Stage 12, Cootie Bush, was a chance to go for it. The drivers know the road and the crests are easy to read. And for once, running first on the road doesn't disadvantage Mason, and he's prepared to get some air.
8 left over crest, 20, 7 left over crest, 15, 6 left over crest, 6 right plus.
Borden too has shaken off the old cobwebs and takes a bit of a ride on the wild side here.
Small 80.
His times through the stage, 6 minutes 46.
Right 80.
Incredibly, that was equalled by Hawkswood, who really was trying to make up for his disaster at the start of stage 9. West was a further 10 seconds back, but still comfortably ahead in the production class. Yes, morning, Murray. Now, stage 13, Macintosh Road, is another regular on the Otago Rally and has a unique group of corners near the end. Now, this ultra-fast downhill leads to a narrow road with huge drop-offs, although that doesn't worry Borden, who wins the stage by 1 second over Hawkswood. The Manukau driver was trying hard but couldn't make an impression on the lead. Lewis Scott has his best stage, 3rd fastest and looking good over the Big Dipper. Check out the cockpit of Westie's Subaru. The action is fast and furious as he wrestles the production car through the corners.
5 right minus.
In contrast, Richard Mason in the older car looks positively relaxed, but the commitment is just the same.
30. 4 left plus over crest, keep in. 4 right, 4 left plus over crest, keep in. 4 right. 3 left, don't cut, rock. 30.
So after 13 stages, it's looking good for Todd Borden with a massive 1 minute 16 lead. Even the 35 kilometre distance of the next stage through the Beddock Forest shouldn't be a worry.
Okay, you're about 1 minute 15 down on Todd. You've got a 35 kilometre stage to go. Do you think you can catch him?
No. Not unless he makes a mistake. So we'll just we'll take 2nd place at the moment and just try and consolidate what we've got.
108. 80. 6 left plus 120.
Stage 14, the penultimate stage through the Beddock Forest, and who could stop Todd Borden now?
Very long 3 right.
None of the drivers, but in fact 10 k's in, the car would stop itself. Disaster, the rear diff is gone. Despite vain attempts to nurse the car home, the rally is over for Todd Borden. So huge disappointment for Toddy, and Andrew Hawkswood took the lead, but not for long.
Andrew, you had a bit of a problem in there?
Yeah, just after Todd stopped in there and just about, he wouldn't believe it, 500 metres after we saw him, we hit a big rock and got a puncture, so we had to stop and change it.
What sort of time loss do you think?
Oh, at least 2 minutes.
Okay, so that might put Westy in front.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So Chris West then inherited the rally lead, just as he did in Propecia Rally New Zealand. Patience rewarded above pace. Although he had to drive the last 10 Ks with a broken gear lever at exactly the same place that Hawkswood punctured. Running first on the road, Mason had no idea of the dramas unfolding on the road behind him. But amazingly, he would win the stage and be just seconds behind Hawkswood, third overall in the rally. Sam Murray and Austin Jones both stepped up, with Murray staying in front of Jones by a mere 1.8 seconds. But they had both edged out a 25-second margin over Tom Pritchard. Drama too when Dave Strong's gearbox failed, handing the Kiwi 2 victory to Kane Barry in the Nissan. Jason West bringing his battered Suzuki home second in the class. So Chris West went from looking for a class win to once again taking his second win for the season as he celebrated in style around the super stage in the streets of Dunedin. Yes, a street race.
It looks all right, I tell you what. No, it's flat on the left-hand.
So well-deserved celebrations for himself and co-driver Gary Cowan, their second win in the Rally of Otago.
On the top six at the end of a fantastic weekend. It's another Champagne Sunday. And it's very good. Fantastic.
Yeah, we weren't the fastest out there today or yesterday. It was obviously, you know, the fastest to the finish, the most consistent, and it's fantastic. It's it's just something to give back to the guys at you know, for the Wingers Subaru Rally team.
So confirming those results, West gets the dramatic victory from Hawkswood and Mason, the other two guys on the podium. Lewis Scott back in action after a year in the wilderness, and a top finish too for the rookie Sam Murray, who held out Jones. And the points overall, West starts the season with 38, Hawkswood on 32 and Mason 29. Dean Sumner gets a maximum haul in the junior championship after Emma Gilmore slipped behind him on the penultimate stage. Kane Barry gets his season off to a good start in the Kiwi 2 class. At least Dave Strong comes away with 5 bonus points for his lead on Saturday. Next round of the Parker NZ Championship is Rally Southland. We'll bring you that coverage coming up on 3 Sport in 2 weeks' time. And stick around, coming up at 4 this afternoon. Highlights from Greece with Rally Acropolis of Southland.